Andressa was a mistake. I didn't know what I was doing. I love you, not her.
Do you realize how you sound? You think that telling me you didn't love Oliver's mother is supposed to make me feel better? It just makes me hate you more.
God damn it, this is so much easier in the comics.
Living on Thraxa was objectively a bad decision for Nolan to make. It was an incredibly selfish act that put countless people's lives at stake and doomed his child to a life disconnected from his culture and identity. Let's deconstruct this. There's a lot of discourse about Nolan's character arc throughout the show, especially during the events of season 4. This arc comes to a climax in episode 5 in his confrontation with Debbie. The discourse I see mostly online focuses on Nolan's apology, how good or bad it was, and how messed up it was for him to call Andressa a mistake. And while yes, it was an incredibly poor taste thing for him to say to Debbie, and he even admitted to Oliver that he was just saying that untruthfully with nebulous yet well-meaning intentions, it was not a false statement. He, quite simply put, should not have done that. Not only did he basically cheat on Debbie mere months after abandoning her, he conceived a child with her. No matter what his current circumstances with Earth and Debbie are, this is a very morally dubious act. At best, it's self-serving, seeing as Andressa was his rebound relationship and it lifted him up from the dark place he was emotionally. Now, this isn't to say that they didn't share a genuinely loving relationship or that she did not mean a lot to Nolan. This video is only to highlight the fact that what Nolan gained from her in his time on Thraxa came at a huge cost. Andressa had a profound impact on Nolan's worldview and emotional development, just like Debbie did. And while it was very necessary for the narrative and for Nolan's character development, the sentiment that Nolan keeps doing things and leaving everyone around him to clean up his mess rings very true. In season 4, Nolan makes a very sweet comment in the beginning of episode 5 in his conversation with Mark. He tells him that despite everything he's done, despite how grotesque the Viltrumites' ways are, Mark was an undeniably good thing to come from Nolan's mission on Earth, and he said that sincerely. The same applies to Oliver. Oliver was a good thing to happen and is a prime example of one of the few good things Nolan has brought into the world, but that doesn't mean that his decision to conceive him wasn't a bad decision. It was a terrible decision. He knowingly doomed a whole planet to face the Viltrumites' destructive ire. There's no getting past that. Those lives, that blood is on Nolan's hands. Now obviously he's not more culpable than the actual Viltrumites who actually did the murder, right? But it was a direct result of Nolan's decisions. But that's not all that's fucked up about Nolan's mistake. Consider Mark's reaction when Nolan tells him the reason why Thraxa is in danger. When Nolan mentions the Viltrumite rules of interbreeding, Mark is visibly and understandably disgusted. But let's take a step back. Let's strip away the eugenics of it all. Let's look past the Viltrumite superiority doctrine. From an ethical standpoint, do these rules have any merit? In a vacuum, is breeding only with genetically similar species such a bad thing? Having a Viltrumite parent as any other species besides humans has to be a bottom 5 childhood experience. It would be horrifying for the other parent. The child doesn't grow up at the same rate with the same lifespan as you. And if that difference in lifespan is large enough, like with Andressa, then you grow old and die without ever having a conversation with your child. You never get to actually parent them. You have no impact on your child's development whatsoever. It's the equivalent of a human having a kid at, say, 25 and then having to take care of that infant until you're 70. Why would you want to subject both parent and child to such a life? Oliver never gets to hug his mother, never gets to talk to her, never gets to feel her warmth. He remembers her, but he never knew her. And now he is completely disconnected from his Thraxan heritage altogether. He doesn't get to experience their culture, never gets to know the other half of his family. This fragmented lineage has negative effects on a young child's developing psychological health and their sense of self and identity. This is one of the many aspects that made chattel slavery in America so terrible. As a Black American, I can relate to the feeling of being disconnected from your lineage and heritage and roots. And I know my entire family, my entire extended family. Imagine being Oliver. I'll leave off the video with this question. Consider the hypothetical where everything went according to plan for Nolan on Thraxa. Let's say he sends for Mark 1 month earlier, and they have time to train, and they successfully fend off the Viltrumites together. And Nolan and Oliver get to stay on Thraxa. Think about the events of episode 6 of season 4. That was the life that Nolan wanted to live with Oliver on Thraxa. He'd still be connected to his Thraxan culture, right? But Oliver would still never know his mother's warmth. And even though both Nolan and Andressa knowingly agreed to this, they agreed to that life for Oliver, was it right for them to willingly subject Oliver to that life? Let me know in the comments.
Ride the wave, I say to myself.
Wait, nobody move. As some of you may know, my last video was a bit spicy, kind of like my name. It kind of deviated from my usual videos. I love Invincible, and I do want to keep making videos about it, but I'm going to explore other of my favorite stories and media to cover. One of them being One Piece, which I incorporated into my previous video. Not as an anime review, but as a smaller element within a targeted video essay about something that's been on my mind. It was a longer video that took a while to make, so you won't see that on my channel as often as today's video, but it is a structure that I want to explore further on this channel. And I rather like that format because I do like taking lessons from my favorite stories and using them to relate to the real world. And that makes it so the content isn't completely different from what I already make on this channel. And yes, One Piece is definitely an anime I will be making more videos on in the future. But let me know what you think about this format. If you want to see more of it, what shows, movies, or anime you'd like to see covered, and anything else you'd like to mention. And check out this last video, man. Tell me if you like it or not. Let me know why or why not. I promise the content isn't nearly as controversial as the title suggests. Alright, take care. I'm out.
Ready for whatever comes. I hope for the best. I'll taste the peace and pray that never leave my tongue. But yet, before long the feeling's done. Perhaps I was foolish just like a boy that prays.